guys, welcome to my channel. I'm so excited to be talking to you guys today. My name is Neji. Today's episode we'll be talking about the Comprehensive Ranking System 2, the CRS 2. So a lot of people have been asking me, how to come to Canada. They really do not know where to start from. So, but don't worry, today that's why I'm here. I'm here to help you. But before I do anything, I just want to state a little disclaimer. I'm not a licensed immigration expert or a licensed consultant. I'm just someone who just loves to do research and just use my own personal experience to help people who are looking to immigrate to Canada. So speaking about the Comprehensive Ranking System 2, it's a very good tool and a very useful tool that I recommend that anyone, before you even do anything, that should be the very first place that you should go to, because it's going to give you a bigger picture on how to plan and how to execute in applying for the express entry. So the express entry is just a system that the Canadian immigration uses to select skilled immigrants who are looking to move to Canada. So without wasting so much of your time, let's just jump onto my computer so I can take you step by step on how to use the tool. Alright guys, so the first thing you want to do is go to Google and you type CRS2. And then you select the first one. Alright, so here you go. So this is the Comprehensive Ranking System 2, says Skilled Immigrants Express Entry. So right here, just some information telling you that this tool is intended solely for general guidance and reference purposes and all that stuff. But that's not too important right now. So the first thing we want to look at is right here. It says this tool will help you calculate your comprehensive ranking system score based on the answer you provide below. The CRS is a point-based system that we use to assess and score your profile and rank it on the express entry pool, and it is used to assess your skills, your education, your language ability, work experience, and other factors. So guys, this is the CIC website. That's the Canadian immigration website. So you can get more information about from that website as well. So I'll also leave the link below just in case you want to take a look at it. So like I don't want to waste so much time, so I'm just going to go straight into this. Okay, so basically what this tool does is it gives you whatever information that you give put into this tool. It's point based, so it allocates a point based on your information and then gives you like a final score, right? So it's going to assess the skills, education, language, work experience, and other factors, and then generate a score for you. So first things first you want to do is let's just fill this information and see what happens. Okay, so it's going to ask you for your marital status first. So for the purpose of this video, I'm just going to say never married, right? And then it's going to ask how old, so I'm just going to say 29, for example, here. So 29, and then it's going to ask what level of education that you have. Right now, what I want you guys to pay attention to is right here. It says and a Canadian degree, diploma, or certificate. So if you're in Canada and you finish your postgraduate, then you have a degree from Canada. But if you never studied in Canada, then you have to get your credentials evaluated. So that's why it says or had an educational credential assessment if you did your study outside of Canada. So there's a body called World Education Service that actually does the evaluation for you. I'm going to have a separate video out there for you guys talking about how you can evaluate your credentials. So no worries about that. I'm going to do a separate video about that. So now in this case, for the purpose of this example, I'm just going to say that the highest level of education you've had is a bachelor's degree, for example, right? And then now it's asking you, have you earned a Canadian degree, diploma, or certificate? So we're going to say no, because for this example, we're just going to say no. And now the next thing is going to ask you is the official language. Canadians' official languages are English and French. So you need to submit the language test result that are less than 2 years old for all programs under the express entry, even if it's English or French. So for the purpose of this example, I'm just going to say yes, you have a result. So we're just, trying to get an example to see, what we're going to score for the express entry. So, and it says, which language test did you take? So I'm just going to say we took the IELTS, the IELTS test. And now for this point here, it's a very important section, because for the English exam, the higher you score, the higher your point is going to be. You're going to find out why I said that at the ending of this example I'm giving to you guys. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to select 7, right? I'll take 7. So for IELTS, it just gives you a range. So if you score 6 or 6.5 or 7, so you just select 6 to 7, right? And then for reading, I'm just going to say 7, because I'm just trying to use like the minimum of 7 here for this example. So 7, right? So we're just saying, you scored 7 in every band, right? So it's asking right now, do you have other language results, right? So like if you speak French or any other thing, but for this purpose, just say not applicable, right? Now here it says, in the last 10 years, how many years of skilled work experience in Canada do you have, right? So for the purpose of this example, let's just assume you're applying from outside of Canada. Let's say you're applying from Nigeria, for example, right? So definitely if you don't have working experience in Canada, so you just say no. But I'll touch a little bit on this where it says, in Canada, the National Occupational Classification, NOC, is the official list of all jobs in Canadian labor market, and is talking about categorizing the different types of jobs into a NOC code. So if you have a managerial experience, then you fall under the level O. If you have a professional job like your doctor and dentist and all that stuff, then you fall under category A. And then technical, say like you're an IT guy or something, then you fall under B. Now the only way you can be eligible to apply for express entry is if your job experience and the skill you have falls under the NOC O, A, or B. So anything aside this, then you might not be eligible to apply for the federal skill, right? So, but I'll do a special video for the NOC code and how to go about that and how to find your code, because you're going to need that code on the main profile. When you create your express entry profile, you have to put in that code as well. So now, so we're just going to say no, you don't have any experience in Canada. So we say no, none or less than a year. And then it's asking, in the last 10 years, how many total years of federal skilled work experience do you have? So what this means is outside of Canada, what experience, the number of years you have an experience. But one thing I need you guys to be careful about is right here. It says it must have been paid full-time or equal amount in part-time. Don't worry about that. But here's the sensitive part: and in only one occupation, right? Only one occupation. That was a mistake I made when I applied for my permanent residence the first time I created my profile. I had a working experience in technical support, which is NOC B. And then I spent 9 months working there. But something that confused me the first time I applied was you have to achieve 1,560 hours, right, which is equivalent to 1 year before you can apply, because the minimum requirement for the express entry, it's a minimum of 1 year skilled experience. But I read somewhere it says 1,560 hours, so I was able to achieve that in 9 months. So I just assumed that I had completed the minimum requirement in terms of the work experience. And then I went to create my profile, and unfortunately it didn't take it because the system only takes it month to month. So it's not going to calculate it in hours. It's just going to calculate it month to month. So I had to then look for another job and work another 1 year again in NOC O to be able to be eligible to apply. Because I had 9 months, and you can combine you can have 9 months of NOC B and 4 months of NOC A, and use that. It has to be 1 full year, right? I could be wrong, but it couldn't take it. So you must have at least a minimum of 1 year in one particular NOC code first, and then if you have other experiences in NOC B and all that kind of stuff, then you can add it as well. But you need to have 1 full year. You can't break the different NOC codes. So I don't want to waste so much time on that. So, but for this purpose, I'm just going to say you have 3 years or more experience. Now, it's going to say, do you have a certificate of qualification from a Canadian province? So this is like a let me see. Yeah, so this is like a trade experience. So if you have like a trade in Canada, or like a professional trade, then you usually get more points when you have that trade certificate. For the purpose, we're just going to say no here, and let's go to the next one. So it says, do you have a valid job offer supported by labor market impact assessment? So just say no, because this is like you have to get a job with a company who is registered under this program before you can say yes, because you have to get that job here in Canada first. But I won't touch more on that, so I don't waste your time. So I'm just going to say no. And then it says, do you have a nomination certificate from a province or territory? So what this is talking about is the provincial nominee program, where a particular province in Canada actually invites you to apply for permanent residence on the condition that you're gonna be living in that province for a certain number of years. I could be wrong, but I think it's 2 years you have to spend there before you can actually move. So but I'll do a different video on provincial nominee program for you guys, so just say no for the purpose of this video. And then it's asking, do you have a spouse or common law partner who is a citizen or permanent residence holder? So if you say yes, then good, you will get more points. But for this, I'm just going to say no, because I'm just trying to get like a little bit of worst case scenario right here. And then you hit calculate your score. Now what you see here at the bottom is your result. So it's going to break down the different categories. Your age gives you a point, your level of education gives you a point, and all that stuff. But I'm not going to go I'm not going to go step by step explaining everything here. So what you want to see right here now, you see your score is 378, right? So for me, I don't see 378 as a good score, because from the results that have been released, it's this is like 12th of May right now, 2019, and the last results that have been released are ranging from 450 in between 448 and 455. So it's been, I haven't checked lately, but it should be I think the last time I checked it was 450. So you can see that this point is so low. Now how can you bring this point up? Now let me show you something. Now, why I told you previously that the English exam plays a very huge role, right? So I'm just going to scroll back to the English exam, and I'm going to change the scores to something higher, and then you see what happens, right? So we're going to change this, let's just say 7.5 to 9. We change this one to 8, and change this one to 8, and change this to that, and then we go back to recalculate the score. So calculate your score, and let's see what's going to happen now. Watch this. Voila, 438. So you can see right now that the higher you score in your English exam, the higher your points is going to go up, you know. So let's just see if we can modify something to raise the point up as well. So let's see. Okay, so let me just go back to bachelor's degree and just assume that you have a master's degree, right? So a master's degree. So we go back down and recalculate and then see what happens. Guys, are you ready for this? Drum rolling, drum rolling, drum rolling. Boom. See, 478. So this is exactly how the comprehensive system gives you a good idea of how your score is going to be, right? Now, because you have a perfect picture of how you can actually work towards making that points go up, you have an idea on what to work on and the right documents to actually provide to actually help you apply for the express entry. So that's it, guys. So yeah, it's a very useful tool, trust me. And or if you can provide all this. And one other thing I want to tell you guys is when you're married, it actually drops your points as well, right? Because you can see right now that it says 478, but if I go back and say you're married, right, and you're going to say your husband or your wife is coming with you, watch what is going to happen to the points, right? So you say married and it's going to ask you, is your spouse or common law partner citizen? Just say no, right? And then it says, will your spouse or partner be joining you to Canada? So you say yes. Now if you go to the bottom, it's going to ask some questions about your spouse too, I guess. Let me see. So you see, it says what's the highest level of education which your spouse or partner has. So let's just say, for example, your partner has bachelor's degree, and it's asking in the last 10 years, did they have any working experience in Canada? You say none. And then it says, did your spouse or common law partner take the English exam? Now, I've been getting so many couples asking me, like, you know, I had this lady who, you know, she was the only one who wrote the exam and her husband didn't write it. And so I'm just going to say no, and then calculate, and let's see what happens to the score. See, it drops to 459, right? So guys, man, this, for me, I feel like before you actually even do anything, you have to come to this tool first, because this gives you an idea and gives you like a plan on how to execute and, you know, be able to achieve this. Welcome back, guys. If you think this video was very helpful, please like, share with your friends, subscribe to my channel, and expect some more videos coming out that can help newcomers or whoever is looking to immigrate to Canada through the express entry system. If you have any questions, concerns, please leave me some comments below, and I'll be checking the comment section to see you know, to get questions answered. So I think that's it. So thank you very much for staying, guys, with me. Once again, my name is Neji. Thank you. Do enjoy the rest of your day. Neji signing out. Peace.